Good evening. Tuesday, August 29th at 5 p.m. Want to talk about Hurricane Idalia and the impacts. They're going to be significant. I actually got a bunch of emails asking me about how can I compare this to other ones that hit the Big Bend area, and I will talk about that in a minute. Currently, the center of Idalia is now a Category 2 with sustained winds of 100 miles an hour with gusts higher than that. And we're already seeing the outer rain bands going into central portions of Florida, with some of them having severe warnings. Looking at data as far as tornado impacts, we're looking probably later on this evening and into the overnight hours will be the greatest threat as Idalia moves further north and we get more of the outer rain bands closer to the actual center of circulation. Those usually will create some more spin-ups of tornadic activity, and these will be short-lived but still pack a punch of over 100 miles an hour. So I wanted to briefly go into the actual track itself. It hasn't changed that much, but notice that we're still looking at a hurricane as it goes through Georgia due to the fact of the strength and the impacts that it will have. So if you're in this area, you're definitely looking at hurricane force winds and probably starting to weaken as we get towards the coastal Carolina coast. But it all depends on how strong it is by the time it reaches land and how much it weakens from that. But going back to the question that people had, there has not been a major Category 3 hurricane to hit this area in the history of records being kept. So what does that mean? This is going to be unprecedented due to the fact this has not occurred before. And I know a lot of the islands have already evacuated, and if you're along the coast in this area, I stress to you to also evacuate, because once the impacts start, the odds of somebody helping to rescue you, you're putting their lives in danger and also yours. So if you can, leave today, don't wait till tomorrow. Roads are going to be full of people, full of cars, and the last thing you want to do is being stuck on the highway due to the fact you didn't get out in time. So actually looking at the water vapor in a closer image than what I've shown you before, you can see the convection already blowing up with some of the outer rain bands. And you can continuously see as it strengthens along the center of Idalia, you actually get more of a convective signature. So this is very conducive to strengthening even further as we go into tonight. So it will be a dangerous Category 3. It could be a high-end Category 3. I would not be surprised with the warm waters that we have that it could be a Category 4 before it makes landfall. But at this time, the Hurricane Center has not stressed that. The warnings that we have in effect, the storm surge and hurricane warning are around the same, and we added a few places to the tropical storm warning itself. And the storm surge watches, we added North Carolina, and we also added the Albemarle Sounds into the tropical storm watch, all the way to the Virginia border. I did want to stress again, the tropical storm force winds start Tuesday tonight, 8 p.m., right around Tampa, and then early morning over the west central portions of Florida. Wednesday morning, you can feel tropical storm force winds over southern Georgia, and then we'll start seeing those winds increase on Wednesday afternoon along the Carolinas. So as far as rainfall, we're still looking around the same. It's a little bit further inland as far as the rainfall. Usually when you have a track that goes inland, on the western side of the actual eye is where the heaviest rain is going to occur. So if you take the actual track itself, you can actually pinpoint where the heaviest rain is going to be on the western edge of the actual track. Again, I stress this is an average. I would not go out of the limb and say 10 to 15 inches in some areas is going to be likely, but I would not be surprised to see a lot of activity in this area, seeing a significant amount of rainfall. If anything, it's going to be quick and dirty. You're going to see 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour at times, so there's going to be significant flooding. And again, here's the actual from this afternoon, the new track as far as moderate. So if you're in the red, you're definitely going to see flash flooding. Even though it doesn't have a high risk, that may actually happen tomorrow. They may never put the high risk in there, but if you're anywhere in or around the red area, I stress to you, you will see significant flooding. And even in this area, even though it's green, if you look at the actual radar again, you're already seeing significant rainfall. So if any of these rain bands do some training, which I call basically going over the same areas, you're going to see significant rainfall. You're also going to see significant rainfall in this area as well. So you can see flash flood watches and warnings outside of the actual track itself of Idalia today into tonight. So again, I want to go back to the actual storm surge. Now, it really hasn't changed that much. 10 to 15 is significant, so if you're in this area, I stress to you, you're going to have significant problems like I've been telling you about. Still at 10 to 15, but as the saying goes, favored high tide areas will be impassable. Low-lying escape areas are going to be severely flooded, and you probably won't be able to venture on those. And there's going to be significant inundation, probably up to a couple miles inland. Now, I do want to stress Yankeetown, you do have a high tide, very close to the impact of Idalia making landfall. It may be 1 to 2 hours away from actually making landfall, which is going to make it worse. So again, Yankeetown and portions further north, your high tide is going to be at that point of actual landfall or close to it, which is going to make things much worse than if you had low tide in some of the other areas. Even Mason Creek, Hermosa, 6:32 a.m. in the morning, that's still pretty close to the time that Idalia is going to be close to you. So with that, the next update will be around 11 p.m., probably a half hour later once I get everything ingested into the computer. But again, I stress, if they tell you to evacuate, do so. Grab cash. ATMs are going to be without money, have quarters. So vending machines that are outside, that if they don't lose power and they still work, you can get chips and soda and whatnot, something to drink on your way to safer areas inland. But again, I stress, be safe out there. If you have any questions, again, please email me and I'll be around to answer any questions. Thank you again.